Good morning, America. This is the Cats Roundtable. John Catsimatidis here. It's Sunday morning. Well, what's going on in the Aegean Sea? There's agitation brewing between Greece and Turkey. With us this morning is Dr. William J. Parker III, former CEO and president of the East-West Institute, retired U.S. naval officer of 37 years, commanded warships and a squadron of warships, actually, and chief of staff of the Naval Surface Forces, and now the founder of Efficient Ships. Good morning, Dr. Parker. How are you this morning?
Good morning, John. Great to be back on your show. I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah, I am getting reports that in the Aegean Sea, Turkey and Greece are going at it again and stirring up the pot in the Aegean Sea. What do you hear?
I'm hearing the same thing, but I will say that this started back in 1974. Really, when you look at it, when there was the coup attempt in Turkey, which ended up being a approach at possibly aligning Cyprus with Greece, and Turkey invaded, and then that resulted in an occupation of the north side of the island, and then this has turned into what was first a maritime dispute, then turned into an airspace and overflights dispute, which then later turned into militarization of the Aegean Islands. And if you want to talk about it, it's a pretty complex environment beyond just the political side of the house, and we can touch on that if you'd like.
Well, I mean, Turkey has put out maps that has shown that they don't really think that those islands belong to Greece or even the island of Crete, which is a little mind-boggling. What do you hear?
I hear that. I see that. I see a lot of things that make me scratch my head. And I'll lay this out if I could for your audience. And you're an expert in this area, but there's about 2,400 islands, mostly Greek in this area. It's a huge shipping lane. Really impacts the Turkey's economic security and lifeline and their economic side of the house. But there's a legal side here, which is really interesting. So, Greece argues that under international law, as delineated in the 1982 UN Convention Law of the Sea, it gives them the right to extend its territorial seas to 12 nautical miles and not the present 6. And then it describes the delimitation of the continental shelf as the main problem and says it must be settled in international courts. And, of course, the Turks then want to come back and they say, we want to have a bilateral agreement, not have international courts agreements. And so this has gone back and forth, but that really is the overarching issue that goes back to 1974. And it continues today. And, of course, this past week, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 6th of October got really interesting as things started heating up again. I will say there's one positive side of this, and that is that on the 6th of October, the Greeks and the Turks sat down for the 63rd time. Now, you could argue, well, that means that they're not getting anything done. On the other side, it means that the Greeks and Turks continue to talk even after all of these issues back and forth. 63 times they've sat down at the table and had conversations on how not to go to war, which I think is a good thing.
Well, it's always good. Communications is always good, and I find that, and we don't need any more wars. We don't need any more turmoil. We have a couple minutes left. You want to comment on any place else in the world?
Well, I'll tell you, I continue, as we talked about before, I continue to be concerned about the amount of gas that's coming out of Russia into much of Europe. I'm concerned about countries that are between 90 and 100% reliant, and the fact that you could have a very cold winter for much of Europe, especially if Russia either decides just to shut it down or their capacity or capability decreases. So that concerns me a lot. As we move forward. Afghanistan, I don't think we should take our eye off the ball there. There's still a lot of Americans still over there, and there's a lot of others that were our friends and allies that are stuck over there right now. And, of course, those poor people that are living there under Taliban rule are suffering immensely, and I think we should pay as much attention as we can to that.
Well, William J. Parker, thank you so much for updating us, and we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Thank you very much. Always great to be back on your show.
Thank you. This is the Cats Roundtable. We'll be right back.